Good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to all. I understand we have an outstanding turnout for this long hoped for event. I'm Jim Backus from the University of Central Florida and UCF's Center for Global Economic and Environmental Opportunity, which we call GEO. My co-host today is Susan Singer, the Distinguished Provost of Rollins College. You'll be hearing from Susan a little later today. We are all here to celebrate the formation and launch of the Central Florida Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development. This new partnership will be an informal, action-oriented partnership committed to combining the knowledge, skills, resources, and imagination of the participating institutions of higher education to help achieve sustainable development locally, regionally, and globally, while using as our guideline the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. At the outset, 7 regional colleges and universities have joined in this partnership and are taking part in this launch. They are the Florida Institute of Technology, Full Sail University, Rollins College, Seminole State College, Stetson University, the University of Central Florida, and Valencia College. I haven't added up all together, but among the 7 of us, I'm confident we have more than 100,000 students in Central Florida. All of the other institutions of higher education in the region are invited to join us in this new endeavor, and we look forward to adding to our numbers as we proceed with our work together. We're hoping that other faculty at other institutions that have not yet formally joined the partnership will feel free to participate with us in our work, and they're cordially invited to do so. Our cooperative work will span the 3 dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental, as we partner in seeking solutions that will benefit Central Florida and will link up all of us in Central Florida to similar efforts towards sustainable development elsewhere. Initially, this work will be in 3 areas: putting sustainable development into our academic curriculum, improving sustainable operations, and engaging in community action. 3 of my colleagues will be explaining these first tasks to us shortly. The institutions launching this partnership today have agreed that a central obligation of all who are engaged in providing higher education is to help prepare all those we teach and serve to meet and respond successfully to the economic, social, and environmental challenges of the present and the future. We believe this obligation can best be fulfilled by weaving the imperative of achieving sustainable development into all we teach and into all we do in our institutions of higher education and in the many and varied communities that our institutions serve. We have concluded that every effort must be made to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals here at the grassroots, where people live and work and share hopes for a brighter future. And we believe that we must come together and work together to do our part in achieving these goals and in maximizing the positive results of achieving them for the benefit of everyone who lives in Central Florida. Much preparation has gone into this launch by faculty and others from all the assembled institutions. We've managed to create this partnership during a pandemic, and we're announcing it while we're still confronting the pandemic, and we're getting underway despite the pandemic, which is itself a reminder of why we need to focus on sustainable development. Susan and I join in thanking you all as we celebrate getting underway. As we begin our program, I should note that this virtual event is being recorded for all who wish to view it or share it later. This is helpful, especially because of the contributions by some of our students you're about to enjoy. As part of this celebration, we held 3 competitions in which we invited students to submit creative expressions on the theme of sustainable development. These contributions are in 3 areas: poetry, digital media, and music. Our 3 winners are with us today, and they will each be receiving a cash prize of $500. The check is in the mail. Our poetry judge, Professor Carol Frost of Rollins College, could not be with us today. So I have the pleasure of introducing and congratulating our winner in the poetry competition. I'm honored to do so. I'm not a poet myself, but I do know some poets. Janina Bagherzadeh is a student at the University of Central Florida in creative writing. She will recite her winning entry. She has been inspired by Goal 12 of the Sustainable Development Goals on sustainable consumption and production, what is often called the promotion of a circular economy. And the title of her poem is Responsible Consumption. Congratulations, Janina, and please proceed.
Thank you so much. So my poem, Responsible Consumption of a Poem, I basically wanted to do it in a way where it conceptually consumes itself and reproduces itself in a circular way. So I'll go ahead and recite that for you.
Turn your volume up just a little bit, Janina.
Okay, is that good?
That is.
All right. If I could throw out pieces of a poem, would this clump become material and collect in Earth's corners, clog the arteries of sewage pipes, fish mouths, bird necks? If I could, we would flock to the stores to buy them, toss them around until we're bored, until they've served their purpose, become too used, like we always do. We'd throw them like weightless, thoughtless things, like they exist to be consumed and consumed and consumed. Poems of convenience, our hands would cast in all directions, from garage to garbage, slopped together in the back of a truck, thrust upon the earth with the force of billions of hands, pressing our shame into the crust, smeared, rotted, forgot. But poems are forever, solid, molting from our mouths and hands as plastic mugshots stained with ink. If I could throw out pieces of a poem, I'd tell you how poems are not convenient, not for this planet that needs more than words to keep the life in its waters, not for these trees and that need unspoiled soil to root, not for this air or these creatures that need trees to breathe, no words can't feed them. But this is what I have. This is what I do. This is my response. Consume it. Make your hands into cups to hold responsibility as this poem seeps from my mouth. A garbage patch collecting around our prodded bodies, earth, animals, all. Float in its collecting fragments. Collect yourselves, the dregs of your humanity. Then let my poem form a vacuum to collect itself. Take space by making space, for life, for birds, for fish, for trees, for these words to make again, swallowing itself up to let us make again, words to say, sustain us, please sustain us still. Thank you so much.
I think I'm going to applaud. If that was wonderful, I especially love the line, make your hands into cups that hold responsibility. What a wonderful line. I think we need to adopt that as the motto of our partnership. That is so very good, Janina. you don't have to think about becoming a poet. You are a poet. And
Thank you so much.
pleased to have you with us.
That.
Well, that's going to be hard to top, but we're going to proceed now to explain what we're about with our partnership here at the outset. I mentioned that we have three goals, initially three areas of focus. One is on weaving sustainable development into our curriculum in all its three dimensions of economic and social and environmental action. And another is making certain that we advance sustainability in our own institutional operations. And a third is engaging in community action. We're going to take up each of those in turn, and I will turn to three of my colleagues one by one to elaborate just a bit on what we're undertaking and why, as a bit of a foreshadowing of where we're going to be going. On the topic of the curriculum, I want to introduce someone who's been much involved in making all of this happen, James Miller, who is the manager of the Facilities, Energy, and Sustainability operations at Seminole State College. James, you're recognized, and thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're queuing up the slides right now. So here we are. Well, good afternoon, and thank you everyone for your time today. As Dr. Backus mentioned, the Central Florida Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development, we've identified three focus areas for these initial collaborations and ideas sharing between the institutions. And those are curriculum, community, and operations. So I'm delighted to share a few spotlights from what we've been able to accomplish at Seminole State College to infuse sustainability throughout our curriculum and our academic programs. We've made attempts to incorporate sustainability into existing classes as well as new courses across a variety of degrees and careers. So next slide, please. Now, as Dr. Backus also mentioned, sustainability is often conceptualized as an intersection of three pillars, your social, your economic, and your environmental dimensions. Now at Seminole State, our sustainability committee, we've articulated these as 4 E's, those being equity, economics, environment, and education, being the kind of foundational layer for looking at all three of these. And when we think about the work that needs to be done in the world, it's also important to juxtapose these 4 E's with the Sustainable Development Goals put forth by the United Nations, which are 17 global goals related to what we as different societies would need to pursue in order to have a sustainable community. And those are there on the next, on the right-hand side. So next slide, please. Going to highlight in a bunch of different areas as we kind of move around different meta majors and different subject areas, just a few ways that we've been able to incorporate sustainability into our classes. And on the right-hand side, you can see some of the global goals that are kind of served by these different focus areas. And so in our business and policy realm, we've got sustainability management courses, both sophomore level and then junior, senior level courses that are incorporated into our bachelor's programs and sustainable business strategies. These classes can be taken as a concentration in our business and information management program or as a standalone certificate of professional preparation. We also have an energy and environmental policy course we've developed, which is a political science general education class that basically introduces students to the legal frameworks for environmental policy at the federal, state, and local level. And this, of course, is all in support of Global Goals 8 and 16, decent work and economic growth, as well as peace, justice, and strong institutions. So next slide, please. We've got several different programs that are geared towards energy, particularly alternative or renewable energy. At Winter Springs High School, we actually have a renewable energy program. It's a dual enrollment program, so our instructors teach 3 different college credit courses at the high school. Our alternative energy sources class, our photovoltaic system design, and our solar thermal system classes. We've also recently at the Lee campus in Oviedo installed our first grid-tied solar array. And so we're excited to start sharing some of the data of that electrical production with students in our classes across a variety of topics. Now, these, of course, support global goals 7 and 13. That's affordable and clean energy and climate action. So moving along, we've got a couple of different entryways into construction in the built environment. We do offer a technical course, Green Building and Energy Efficiency, which is meant for construction interior design majors who are going into the field and are going to learn about green building systems and certifications. But we also have non-technical courses such as Tiny House Living, which looks at the design considerations, zoning and other types of planning options and considerations for small house living. The picture that's there on the lower right is actually of a student-designed and partially student-built tiny house on our main campus. So this is a student project, and you can see that winning design sort of has a nautical theme to it. And this is in support of goals 9 and 11, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, as well as sustainable cities and communities. Next slide, please. We've had some projects in the areas of art and theater as well. So we had our first recycled art show a couple years back, which was part of a larger community art and repair fair to kind of look at artistic expression and the circular economy. We also had a special topics course offered around the same time in green theater and sustainable design, taking a look at technical theater and scenic design and ways to reduce material waste through that. And of course, this is in support of responsible consumption and production. Next slide, please. Another area is the natural sciences, where in our chemistry courses, we've been able to redesign some of the labs to reduce the number of harsh chemicals. We've also added renewable energy demonstrations into our non-majors courses, our chemistry and everyday life. For a couple of years, we were able to run a sustainability studies in New Mexico travel study course, where a group of students would travel to New Mexico with our instructors. They'd take tours of multiple locations, including Los Alamos National Lab and the Taos Pueblo, where you're kind of looking at sustainability through lifestyle and through science and engineering. And this, of course, supports 14 and 15, life below water and life on land. So final slide, please. This is really just a kind of breakneck introduction to some of the things that we've been able to accomplish here, but I hope that this kind of gets the wheels turning for everybody about some of the curriculum possibilities and opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, James. That does indeed get our wheels turning. As you can imagine, part of what we're doing at the very beginning is comparing notes about what each of us is doing on our own. The aim is to learn from each other and multiply what we're doing on our own and together by virtue of our cooperation. And you can see that Seminole State has a lot to offer the rest of us, to be sure. The next focus on which we want to center your attention is on community action. We'll be engaging in a range of community action over time with the partnership, but much of our endeavor from the outset will be in providing a whole range of technical expertise and counseling and information from the faculty members of all of our institutions, issues ranging across all of the 3 pillars of sustainable development, to a regional undertaking led by the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council. This effort comprises 8 counties, which have 78 cities and towns, and it represents a population approaching 5 million people. In this region of 8 counties is East Central Florida. In their eyes, is Central Florida in ours, and it's basically the region that our institutions serve. an undertaking called the East Central Florida Regional Resilience Collaborative is well underway. It was launched last year. We're having a summit a few weeks from now on May 7th, which I hope you will all attend virtually. And one of the things we're going to be doing through this partnership is helping this regional collaborative. Toward that end, we're happy to have one of our collaborators here, Jennifer Rupert, from the Planning Council, to tell us just a little bit about it and about her expectations of how the faculty from all of our institutions can help them along the way. Jennifer?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And Mr. Miller, I look forward to, or I appreciate all the operationalizing you are doing within Seminole State, and I'm pleased that our local governments are working to gain that same kind of understanding and operationalizing resilience. Again, my name is Jennifer Rupert. I'm the Regional Resilience Officer for the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council and lead for the collaborative, or R2C as I'll call it, because it's just a mouthful. I'm a proud product of Valencia Community College and alumni of Rollins College, married to a trustee chair, Pegasus professor, director of jazz studies at UCF. So I have deep roots with our academic institutions here in Central Florida.
Jazz is sustainable development, Jennifer.
Agreed. Yes, sir. Established in May of 2009 by unanimous decision, shockingly enough, from the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council, the R2C is really a regional framework or network committed to improving resilience. As a program of the RPC, our governance structure covers that 8-county region that Jim mentioned, where we've conducted various projects over the last 15 years, including some of the very first studies of sea level rise impacts in like 2004. We've done health impact assessments, vulnerability assessments. We've established unified sea level rise curves for our coastal communities to include in their planning horizons. And we've done so much of this in partnership with our local governments and with the higher education institutions. The RTC defines resilience as the ability to bounce forward. We're no more going back. We want to absorb, recover, and get better in the face of the short-term shocks like hurricanes and infrastructure failures, and our longer-term stressors like affordable housing, aging infrastructure, shifting economic trends, and certainly climate change, all of which are embraced by the SDGs. Our framework maintains the resilience umbrella, which is quite appropriate for today since it just started raining again. It has 3 pillars that really mirrors the same thing Dr. Miller spoke to. We have people, which is health and equity, places, which is our built infrastructure and our natural environment, and prosperity, which is economic resilience. Our elected leadership were adamant about including, woven throughout each one of those pillars, we wanted to make sure we reduced our risks and vulnerabilities, as well as our carbon footprint in the region, all the while increasing our efforts towards the sustainability goals, which is exciting. A memorandum of understanding was drafted incorporating that framework, baking in the SDGs from the start and considered at each commission or council or organizational board meeting to formalize partnership. Today, we have about 37 partners that have formalized, 27 of which are local governments, and the remaining are organizations like transportation planning organizations, so TPOs. We have higher educational institutions and others who align with the work. Engagement occurs at several different levels, including a number of technical advisory committees who work to develop appropriate goals and strategies from the bottom up, which is key to this. For the R2C to carry forward, establish new partnerships towards the goals as we recognize that we cannot do this work in our silos, secure the funding, and then increase collective impact to move the region forward. In addition to the aforementioned goals that each of those technical advisory committees are working towards, the first year's outcomes include the region's first greenhouse gas inventory, conducted on behalf of our 8-county region through a partnership with the Environmental Defense Fund, the Nature Conservancy, and Audubon, Florida. They not only funded the region-wide inventory, but then extended the reach of it directly to engage 18 local governments in understanding their emission contributions with their own municipal operations inventories. They have been involved, pardon me, key to the success of those 18 local governments or those municipal operations inventory has been the involvement of UCF, Stetson, and FIT, and the incredible leadership by some of the professors that participate with these students. They've expanded the capability and capacity of our local governments during a budget restricted year due to COVID. And really, with the selection of very high level climate fellows who were paired with the government to obtain training side by side from ICLEI on a global platform used to standardize emissions and mirror the regional inventory. That talent pipeline gave the fellows practical experience and built relationships with high level staff members in each one of these local governments. The R2C pivots after our upcoming summit on May 7th. Thank you for mentioning that, Jim. Towards implementation of established goals, we really look forward to continued engagement with the higher education partnership and the expertise and all of the cutting edge research that's located within the institutions, connecting the dots to increase our collective impact toward our shared goals. I really appreciate the time and appreciate the partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. We're all looking forward to helping the R2C however we can. A number of you who are participating today are already involved in this regional endeavor, and we're grateful for that. For those of you who are not and want to be, you can be. Just let us know, and we'll get you involved. The summit on May 7th will be, in most respects, an announcement of the results of our goal setting for the first year of the collaborative. We've identified goals that largely parallel and align with the Sustainable Development Goals. The hard part comes next. We're going to be figuring out how best we can come together in the region to achieve those goals. So we'll be needing hard facts, we'll be needing research, we'll be needing ideas, we'll be needing policy proposals, and that's where this partnership comes in, and that's the exciting part. The third of our focus areas at the beginning for the partnership will be in the sustainable operations of our own institutions. How do we act sustainably on a day-to-day basis? How do we promote sustainability in the ways that we run our colleges and universities? Here, I'm very happy to introduce one of my colleagues at UCF who has done such wonderful work in this area and has put our UCF sustainability operations in the forefront nationally and beyond. To explain what we're doing at UCF and how we hope to work with others to do a lot more, I'd like to introduce Jara Watson-Colon. Jara.
Thank you, Jim. I want to thank Jim and Susan and the whole collaborative team who has been working so hard to get the collaborative up and running. And I'm excited to formalize some of these relationships that we've had for decades. A lot of the successes we've had at UCF has been through learning along with our peers in the Central Florida region. So again, I'm super excited to present some of the successes that UCF has had in operations here on our main campus, and to move forward in formalizing information sharing and collaborative innovation development. Next slide, please. So sustainability initiatives was created to kind of bridge that gap between academics and operations. A lot of times on campuses, especially large campuses, we're operating in silos, and we miss some opportunities for living laboratory experiences, for students to get hands-on skill development. As we've worked to remove those silos through the creation of the office and other departments on campus, we've seen many collaborations result in awards and designations that have helped to develop our reputation for sustainability here at UCF. We're a longtime member of the Tree Campus USA. We have a silver rating for the Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System. For those who aren't familiar with STARS, this is a wonderful benchmarking system for higher education institutions that allows us to look at not only sustainable operations, but how we're doing with engagement with our finances, how we're infusing sustainability in our curriculum. So this tool will likely be a great model for collaboration within our institutions here. And we've also had a lot of successes in the built environment on campus, which I'm going to be diving into more today. We have many award-winning buildings here on campus, and our district energy plan 4 was recently featured in the International District Energy magazine, the winter 2021 cover story for the innovative technology that we have in that facility. Next slide, please. At UCF, we have 3 primary campus sustainability goals. The one I'm going to focus on primarily today is reaching carbon neutrality. We committed to becoming a carbon neutral campus by 2050 back in 2010. And we've slowly been making our progress to that goal while still continuing to grow as a university. We're a fairly young university compared to the land grant universities throughout the state of Florida. And so we still had a lot of room for growth over the last few decades. And now that we're reaching the peak of that, we're really going to see some continued development of chopping away at that carbon emissions we have here on campus. The next goal is achieving what we call zero waste, which doesn't mean complete zero. It also accounts for things like environmental hazardous waste and how we manage that. But it goes back into this notion of a circular economy. And then the last, which I'm super excited to work with campuses across Central Florida on. Seminole gave a great presentation on their curriculum integration, but the last goal we have is to integrate sustainability across all disciplines. I like to say that sustainability isn't just my job, it's everyone's job, and the more education and opportunities for collaboration we can give not just faculty and staff, but our students, the more we'll be able to have a workforce that is ready to work on these coming issues that our world is facing. Next slide, please. So some of the operational successes that I want to highlight are primarily in the utilities area. So we have some solar here on campus. The largest site is a 107 kilowatt ground mount solar project that basically powers the garage that it sits in front of. If you've ever been past our primary student gym, you've seen this wonderful solar installation, and it's a great educational piece. It's something that is visible, that students and tour groups can have access to see how these ground mounting solar installations work. We also have a floating solar installation on campus and many dispersed rooftop solar installations on campus. We're currently working toward a 15 megawatt site. We have a feasibility study ongoing to determine whether or not this new site can help us get to 15% renewable energy here on campus. Another fantastic feature we have on campus that I mentioned earlier is our district energy plant. It is our first LEED Gold certified industrial facility, which was a wonderful feat to achieve. It is a highly efficient centralized cooling operation. And so it helps to produce chilled water that is circulated throughout our 157 buildings on campus. And it helps with not only comfort cooling, but equipment cooling here on campus. Florida has a unique weather situation. And so some of the things that we see on the East Coast and out West don't really apply here in our wonderful state of Florida. And the district energy plan is one innovation that sits prime for helping us to reach our energy efficiency goals here in the state of Florida. A few years ago, we began the process of converting that plant to reclaimed water, and that has helped to reduce our potable water usage quite significantly, which has significant cost savings as well. We are also irrigating with reclaimed water, which is, again, reducing our dependence on potable water in the Florida aquifer. And it has a large annual savings too. Another feature I want to mention is we have a large tree canopy covering approximately 58% of campus, and we're continuing our commitment to planting trees across campus, not just conserving some of the natural areas, our beautiful natural areas that I definitely recommend that you explore here on campus, our many nature trails, but we're also growing our urban tree canopy on campus, which helps with comfort levels as students and faculty and staff walk across campus, as we continue to push for less parking on the interior of campus and creating more programming that encourages people to use alternative modes of transportation outside of single passenger vehicles. Next slide, please. I mentioned that high performance buildings have been a huge part of our successes here on campus. We have over 1.3 million square feet of LEED, gold, or silver certified buildings. Not only have a LEED gold minimum requirement, which is common amongst many of our peers, we also specify 28 specific credits that emphasize energy, atmosphere, and water efficiency. The result is that our buildings reduce energy and water consumption by 30 and 40% respectively. It also has benefits for occupant health, which has been so important during these pandemic times where we're really paying attention to air quality within our buildings. Next slide, please. And so I mentioned that although we have rapidly grown, we basically doubled our campus gross square footage since our initial carbon commitment. As we continue to grow, we are still continuing our efforts for energy efficiency and carbon emissions. So you'll see that even as our enrollment has grown exponentially and our campus size has grown exponentially, we're still meeting our targets for our source EUI. Next slide, please. Back when we made our initial commitment to becoming a carbon neutral campus by 2050, we also laid out several other goals within our climate action plan. We are actually in the process of a climate action plan rewrite. We're expanding it to a full encompassing sustainability plan. And so we're in the process of taking a look at these previous goals and seeing how we're matching up. Many of these successes, again, has been attributed through partnership with other institutions, not just within the state of Florida, but globally, and learning from others. And meeting the goals that we have not reached yet will take further collaboration. Next slide, please. So getting into the nitty-gritty of our direct emissions, many of you have likely heard that we divide our emissions into three broad categories: scope 1, 2, and 3. Our current carbon commitment commits us to getting net zero for scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. So I want to talk a little bit about those. You'll see here in this diagram, again, what I mentioned earlier, that although we continue to grow our enrollment in our campus built environment, we are continuing to reduce our emissions. Next slide. And lastly, I want to highlight some of the collaborations we have with students on campus. I have the pleasure of not only working with our operations staff to provide some innovative solutions to reaching our carbon emissions targets in the built environment, but I also get to collaborate with faculty and students in the curriculum and programming. So we have an annual kilowatt competition which engages on-campus residents. It's a 2-month-long competition where they compete within their communities for each building to reduce their energy consumption. The residents of the winning building then become eligible for a scholarship, and it's an area where we get to see some artistic expression too. We get lots of art, poetry, and essay submissions, and we award 15 scholarships in partnership with student government to those students. We also see some operational dividends there too. So in 2009, there was a 15% reduction in those residence halls. We also have a lot of efforts to combat waste here on campus. Our annual campus swap shop, I should say twice semesterly, campus swap shop allows students to bring their gently used goods to an area and swap them out for others. And then any remaining goods are donated to our Nights Helping Nights pantry. We have had a lot of success here, not only with things like clothes and small kitchen products like microwaves and toasters, but there's also been an uptick in bike donations, which in partnership with the UCF Police Department, we've been able to donate to some local organizations. Next slide, please. So we love to connect with people. I would recommend that you check out a new page I just put up, sustainable.ucf.edu/campus progress. As I mentioned, we are starting a new climate action plan rewrite process. And so we're taking a look back at the milestones we achieved over time. This will give you a timeline going back to 2005 of our successes here on campus. I invite you to reach out to me personally at jada.watson@ucf.edu if you have any questions, and follow us on social media. Again, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jara, and our other colleagues that shared the key levers that we're going to pull together as a higher education partnership. I'm Susan Singer. I'm Jim's co-coordinator in this effort, and I serve as the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at Rollins College. It's my great pleasure to move us to the next section of our program, which is celebrating yet another incredibly talented student. And before I get there, I do want to pause and acknowledge our faculty judges that have brought this tremendous talent and expertise to us this afternoon. So you've already had the pleasure of listening to Janina's beautiful and inspiring poem. Professor Carol Frost, professor of English at Rollins College and also Florida's poet laureate, was the judge for that competition. Not quite yet, but in a little bit, you're going to hear about the Student Music Award, and Professor Stella Sung at UCF is the judge and our source of inspiration for that. So you'll hear from her shortly. Right now, we are going to move into the Student Digital Media Award, and Professor Patrice Cole at UCF and Professor Stephen Schoen at Rollins College were the judges for this. Our judges all, with the exception of Stella, had other commitments, including class, which of course needs to be their highest priority. And they wanted to send their regrets for not being here to celebrate with all of you, and especially the wonderful student awardees. So this means I get the distinct pleasure of being able to introduce Mary Ashley Fulton, who is the winner of the Student Digital Media Award. Mary Ashley is a student at Rollins College. She's double majoring in critical media and cultural studies and theater with an emphasis on technical design. Her media production is entitled Mother. And Mary, perhaps you'd like to share a few words before we have the opportunity to enjoy your video.
Yeah, for sure. So I filmed this piece actually on Anna Maria Island, which is near St. Pete here in Florida. And I really wanted to focus on the need for us to conserve our oceans, our water spaces, and specifically the beach and dunes that surround our water spaces, because those are really important habitats that sometimes go overlooked. And I hope that you all enjoy my piece. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, and congratulations. We are now going to move on to the presidents of our higher education partnership. And one of the things that I believe everyone that's been working on this partnership is so grateful for is that the college presidents have committed to the partnership. So our institutions are all in, and we wanted to find a way to include their voices in this celebration. And so we asked our college presidents to each prepare a short video on their favorite UN Sustainable Development Goal. Now, picking a favorite one in of itself is a challenge, and I appreciate that they were willing to do this. We have linked together all the videos. We're going to play them for you via Zoom now, and being aware that people have a range of bandwidth available, I am also going to add into the chat function a link to the YouTube site that has the same thing that we're going to share with you. So if you're having any difficulties at all with the video presentation via Zoom, please feel free to use the YouTube chat. If you do, we would be very grateful if you would make sure your Zoom connection is on mute so we don't have a phased, perhaps not harmonious presentation of the presidential comments on the UN Sustainable Development Goals that inspire them. So sit back and enjoy.
Since its creation, the University of Central Florida has worked to help solve some of society's greatest challenges and move our region and state forward. For the past several years, identifying solutions for issues surrounding environmental, economic, and social sustainability have been a priority for the university. We are proud to amplify our efforts with the Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development, where we will bring faculty expertise together to make progress on our collective sustainability goals and improve health and resiliency in our region and beyond. UCF is known as America's Partnership University for good reason. Many of UCF's major accomplishments over the years have been achieved through partnership. Our experience shows us that we can accomplish so much more together than we can alone. This belief is highlighted in the United Nations Sustainability Goal number 17, Partnership for the Goals, where in order to create positive change on health, education, economic growth, climate action, and other global challenges, we must create partnerships at all levels. UCF creates partnerships internally, within our own institution, across disciplines and colleges, because we know the best ideas are formed at the intersection of diverse viewpoints. We partner with other educational institutions to share data and best practices and increase opportunities and success for students by strengthening the educational pipeline for our region. We partner with government agencies to solve challenges that help move our society forward, such as the creation of intelligent transportation systems through smart cities initiatives. And we partner with industry to bring innovative minds together, working toward a common goal, including modernizing aging energy grid systems and addressing threats facing coastal communities. Now we are excited to work with the other institutions in this partnership to foster links among sustainable development initiatives and further the creation of economic and environmental opportunity. To all our partner institutions, thank you for being a part of this incredible initiative. We look forward to making a positive impact with you. Go Knights, charge on.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Plinsky, Executive Vice President and Provost at Valencia College and Valencia's incoming president. I am so proud that we have joined the Central Florida Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development, as it marks our continued commitment to sustainability. In speaking with our students, I know firsthand that these issues not only affect our students, but that our students care deeply about sustainability. We were one of the earliest signatories of the Climate Leadership Network, formerly known as the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. We have committed to reaching carbon neutrality by the year 2050, as well as reducing waste and improving our water efficiency. We've established a green building standard and use state-of-the-art building automation to reduce our energy consumption. We've been recognized 9 times by the Arbor Day Foundation for being Tree Campus Higher Education. And we're celebrating our 10th year of the establishment of our Sustainability Office. We are truly pioneers in terms of sustainability for higher education. I'd like to take a moment to talk about 2 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that really resonate here at Valencia. The first is goal number 4, quality education. Of course, that is central to Valencia's mission. We are so proud to provide access to higher education to more than 70,000 students annually. We're also proud of increasing levels of success amongst our students. Last year, we awarded nearly 9,000 degrees to our students, which represents more than a doubling over the last 10 years. And the number of degrees earned by Black and Hispanic students at Valencia has more than tripled over that same time frame. The second goal I'd like to address is goal number 8, which speaks to sustainable economic development and meaningful employment. This also is a key tenet of our mission. We offer more than 40 associate and science degree programs, which prepare our students directly for the workforce. We also offer a variety of accelerated skills training programs in which students earn industry certifications, preparing them for jobs that are in high demand in our community. These are just a few of the examples that speak to Valencia's commitment to sustainability, and I look forward to the work ahead with the partnership.
It's impossible to pick a favorite or most important sustainable development goal, since they're all interconnected, and it's difficult to make progress or lose ground on one without it affecting the others. I have my own personal worry meter about all of them. Most recently, I've been deeply troubled about where we stand as a nation and as a global community on number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. That goal reads, in short, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. In our own nation, we've witnessed direct and unabashed attacks on democracy, from mass misinformation about election integrity to a violent insurgency on our nation's capital. Now there are measures in many states calculated to limit voting rights. America once prided itself as being a highly functional, diverse democracy that the world could emulate. We have fallen far. I think one of the goals for higher education is to graduate alumni who have the values, knowledge, and disposition to strengthen and participate in our democratic institutions. Hence, I'm thinking a lot about goal number 16.
Greetings, students, faculty, staff, community members, and colleagues at our sister institutions throughout the region. I'm delighted to represent Seminole State College of Florida and share our enthusiastic support for Central Florida's new Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are a joint effort by the global community to define sustainable ideals and to serve as a strategic plan to ensure a better future for all. The global goal number 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. I want to take this moment to honor the educational mission of our respective institutions and to acknowledge the wonderful work being done at each college that helps uplift our local communities and promotes this goal. We have a long way to go to achieve goal number 4 as a community, as a state, and as a nation. There have been hardships and obstacles in the past year laid before our communities and our students. A tremendous amount of work still lies ahead. In this moment of celebration, I want to reflect on the power of education to enrich lives and improve livelihoods, to create equity from disparity and opportunity from disadvantage. I believe firmly that the goal of quality education is a building block toward many of the global goals that we must achieve to live in a sustainable world. Truly, it is the students in our classrooms and labs today who will mature into the thought leaders of tomorrow, who can continue the efforts behind the Sustainable Development Goals. They may be the ones to drive industry, innovation, and infrastructure, to engineer sustainable cities and communities, and to improve systems for clean water and affordable energy. An education that promotes cultural competence, ethical reasoning, and civic responsibility can help us reduce inequalities and produce responsible citizens capable of being stewards of sustainability. If we as institutions of higher education are serious about providing a quality education that is equitable and inclusive, our work can also lift families out of poverty, prevent hunger, and promote the health and well-being of our communities. If we aspire to a future of inquiry, innovation, stability, and peace, we must cultivate institutions for learning that are engaging and inclusive, and we must strive to provide all students and knowledge seekers with an enduring and meaningful education.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dwayne McKay. I'm the president at the Florida Institute of Technology over in Melbourne, Florida. And we're members of the Central Florida Higher Education Partnership. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about one of the goals that the United Nations has established that we're incredibly interested in. And that's goal 9, if you know the numbers, and that's industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And the reason is because we have been supplying the talent base to industry for years and years, particularly in the space industry and also in the ocean industry, which there's another goal there that we're interested in, and that's the life underwater. But right now, everything we do here is geared toward innovation, is geared towards graduating students that are going to be high producers primarily in the space industry, but also the defense industry. And we're trying to grow the Space Coast, where we live, to be the #1 technological location in the country, maybe the world. Certainly in aerospace, we already are, but and we're in the top 3 or 4 in the country in terms of technical knowledge and talent. So for us, everything centers around building the talent base that allows the space industry and Florida's Space Coast and the United States to be the most powerful, sustainable set of organizations in the country. Sustainability is huge. We're one of the few schools in the South that has a bachelor's degree in sustainability. It includes innovation, it includes business, it includes engineering, it includes all the things that matter for us to produce graduates to work in industry that have an appreciation for sustainable development and sustainability in general. I hope you enjoy your conference. Thank you.
I'm Full Sail University President Gary Jones, and on behalf of Full Sail, we are thrilled to be part of the Central Florida Higher Education Partnership for Sustainable Development. The UN's 17 goals highlighted within this partnership are passionately applauded and supported by Full Sail. Allow me to illustrate our enthusiasm for this good work with a couple of examples. Full Sail recently worked with regional schools, governments, businesses, and organizations to launch the Monarch Initiative, an effort to help perpetuate pollinators and their vital work through backyard conservation. Stemming from a relationship between Full Sail and the Nature Conservancy, the Monarch Initiative demonstrated the power of community to create a ripple effect of positive change. The effort was first intended to be a regional effort, but instead brought national attention about backyard conservation to over 100 million people. Another example of our passion for sustainability is a newfound partnership between Full Sail graduates and the Atlantic Council Adrian Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center. Originating on our campus, today these grads are serving in advisory roles as senior fellows in the area of emerging technologies to help the Atlantic Council with the goal of reaching 1 billion people by the year 2030 with resilience solutions for climate change, migration, and human security challenges. I share these stories as examples of the passion and capability that our university, now alongside these other extraordinary collegiate partners, can bring to this sustainable development initiative. While all 17 of the UN's identified goals are of great importance, I will highlight only one today: quality education. At Full Sail, providing inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities is at the very heart of our daily mission. We consistently scan the horizon for new, innovative ways to promote educational opportunities, which led to our recent support of K-12 educators during the pandemic. After the arrival of COVID, and after ensuring our campus students were settled virtually, Full Sail professors shifted their focus to helping the larger education community. Since we provided virtual learning for over 12 years, Full Sail saw an opportunity to be a resource for K-12 teachers by creating free online webinars that provide tools and resources as these teachers navigate their often new virtual learning environments. Additionally, Full Sail created a $1 million scholarship fund for K-12 teachers to take our online instructional design and technology master's degree, a program that has enhanced virtual learning across the U.S. one classroom at a time. These are two examples of initiatives that are already underway at our university. Imagine what we'll be able to accomplish together as a unified front, leveraging the thought leadership found across all the participating institutions. The formation of this coalition is happening at a pivotal moment when working together, sharing ideas, finding solutions, and fostering community is needed more than ever. On behalf of Full Sail University, it is an honor to take part in this effort. I'm inspired and excited for what we will achieve together in service to our community and the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our presidents. With this wise, informed, and very expert leadership, our higher education partnership is in excellent hands. And I'm just smiling at the theme that reverberated through all of their comments about partnership and truly how much better we all are when we work together. And I think also, as I've reflected on the presentations we've heard from colleagues at our institutions and from our presidents, how complementary our collective expertise is. I can't wait to see what we're going to be able to do together with this partnership. We now have a moment to celebrate in a different way, and I'm going to turn this over to Professor Stella Sung to celebrate our last student awardee.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's just wonderful to see and hear all the great things that all of us are doing collectively to move our initiatives forward for conservation and awareness for our planet and for our resources. It's a pleasure to introduce to you today Jay Forsyth, who is our winner, our student composer winner for his composition called Planet Earth. And I would love for Jay to say a few words about his composition, perhaps what it means to him and what he hopes that we will receive from hearing it. So Jay, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you. I'm a student at Rollins College. I'm a music major. I wrote this piece when the partnership announced their competition. What I wanted it to convey is a sort of hopefulness of reconciliation with the environment. And I got it together with a couple of friends and we recorded it very quickly in order so I could present a live recording. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. That was stunningly beautiful. Jay wraps up the structured portion of our program for today. And on behalf of myself and Jim, I'd like to add a few closing final remarks for this afternoon. I hope through the joy of the student presentations and the very insightful work our colleagues have shared, you have a better sense of how we are all committed to coming together to implement for Central Florida the environmental, the economic, and the social dimensions of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And as institutions of higher education, we look forward to doing that by pulling on 3 levers. So our operational expertise that we can share and improve across our institutions, our curriculum that emphasizes all the dimensions of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and then our commitment to being of value to the greater community, bringing our expertise and our talent to bear, whether it's through the Regional Resiliency Collaborative or other places that we can be of value in our community. We invite all of you to join us in this effort, and whether your institution is already part of our higher education partnership or not, you are most welcome to join us, individual faculty, are welcome as we move forward together. So I think you may have gathered from some of the presentations today, there's been a great deal of work over the last year and a half leading up to this launch. And you've seen only a few of the individuals today who have been involved in bringing us to this point. So I want to thank faculty and staff across the region who have joined us in person and virtually over the last year and a half. And I am so thrilled about the work we have ahead of us and look forward to your partnership in that. So this concludes our launch event for today. Jim and I will gladly stay for a few minutes if people have questions or comments. And I wish you all the very best for Climate Week and the weeks and months ahead. Thank you.
Thank you all.